Good evening, everyone. Here we are at the Third Man Cricket Show. It's lunchtime, and the players have headed for lunch. So here we are with our two analysts, Omkar Acharya, and we have a debutant today here in the analyst panel. It's none other than Sanchit Desai. So hello, guys. How are you? How are you doing?
Good over here. I'm really happy to make my debut finally as a panelist. So really looking forward to a discussion.
Yes, we are also looking forward to both of you sharing your views. So, to start with the discussion, I would like to tell our viewers that England were all out for 303 and New Zealand are batting at 43 at the loss of Tom Latham's wicket, which is 43 for 1. Devon Conway is batting on 27 and Will Young is at 6 of 23 balls. So, to start the discussion, I would really like to ask you both about New Zealand's approach because it has seemed really positive. They have made 43 runs with the loss of just one wicket, but the approach has been really positive. They have not over defended. So I would really like to know your views on the same, Sanchit and then Omkar.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think New Zealand has indeed started off well in this particular innings. We expected the English bowlers to be bowling with fierce and pace, especially with 18,000 people at the in the Edgbaston stands behind them. I think they did really well, especially Devon Conway for that impact. I think he has scored the majority of the runs, almost 50% of the total score so far for New Zealand, and I think credit goes to them. They really had a good start and. 300 I think is the psychological advantage for England in this test match, especially knowing that New Zealand are going to play without their best batsman in the world, that is Kane Williamson. So, for starters, I think it is a good start, and they really need to hope that Conway kicks off this innings. And we don't know exactly what to expect from someone like Will Young because he's a newcomer in this test arena, and this is going to be a big challenge for him in the next session onwards. So, really, all the eyes will be on Devon Conway. But as you said, that it is a good start for New Zealand, and they should hope that it carries on and they do not lose that momentum that they have got in the last 30 minutes or so.
Yes, Omkar, your views on the same?
First, yeah, almost similar views like Sanchit. I would like to appreciate Daniel Lawrence, who batted really well. Like yesterday, it was 175 for 6 or 7, and he just make brilliant innings of 81 of playing 124 balls and making England to the score of 303. So even Mark Wood was hitting the ball really well. We saw some shots from his bat. It was like a perfectly tested shots which we get to know, like the bowlers we don't see them batting with pure technique and class, but Mark Wood showed some technique and class as well with his batting.
Exactly, it's a batsman or indeed a fast bowler who can bat. In the end, is really an asset for any Test side in the world, not just England. But Sanchit, you just mentioned Devon Conway and his approach. I would really like you to talk us through his approach because even when he got that double hundred in the first game, he really took his time in the beginning. But today, I think he has scored 27 of 45 balls already, which is the strike rate is not more than 100, but it's exactly more than 50. So which is still good when you're facing bowlers like James Anderson and Stuart Broad. And I would really like to know your approach, know your views on his approach. Indeed.
Definitely, I think this is the doing of the magic of a confidence. I mean, if you have confidence and momentum within you, I think magical things tend to happen. And especially, we could see that in the way how Devon Conway is approaching in this innings. I mean, that boy is playing without pressure. I mean, it's not fair to call him a boy because he's a 29-year-old player. But in the Test match arena, we know that how difficult Test cricket is, especially in conditions like England, where the ball is doing something or the other thing almost the entire day, and with the Edgbaston crowd known for its notorious nature, and it is always going to be a hell of a time for an away player. But Devon Conway, I think he's looked splendid so far in this innings, carrying that form since that double hundred at Lords. I think he really has a bright future ahead, and especially I think I remember him scoring those cover drives to James Anderson in his first two overs. I think that was splendid. I mean, it didn't look like that boy was batting under pressure. So credit goes to Devon Conway, but as I said, a lot rides on him, especially at the top of the order, because I think Tom Latham's wicket was crucial from New Zealand's perspective. I think Stuart Broad was absolutely brilliant in his morning spell in this session. So to survive that, I think you have to give credit to someone like Devon Conway. Hope he builds on for New Zealand's sake and maybe gets to another 100.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's really good to watch opening batsmen play against James Anderson and Stuart Broad in this way. He's been playing really well. But Omkar, coming to you, if I will twist the question a bit and ask you that what is the one thing that you think that Devon Conway has done really well to get to where he is right now? If you can choose one thing that he's been doing better than other openers in the world, what would it be?
Temperament and mindset, definitely. Like he took his time in the first innings after he scored his double hundred. That too with a six when he was playing on 194. So the temperament and mindset which he is playing with right now is really positive. This is the actual start which New Zealand need. Though they have lost their captain Tom Latham, but they have lost the most experienced player of New Zealand and also the highest test run scorer for New Zealand in the cricketing history. So I feel that Devon Conway should continue his form like that. He's playing really positive cricket, and also having lost in the middle order, so it might bit relax the pressure from his mindset that I have Ross Taylor, so that, it's not like I should always be defensive. I can attack as well, and he's attacking the bowlers as well really well. So definitely it will be a positive mindset which he is playing, and I think he'll score one more hundred as Sanchit also said that.
Right, right. We all want him to score that 100 for New Zealand. But coming to Will Young, I mean, we have not seen much of him in international cricket till now. But in the county stint, I just went through his record and it says that he has got 200s in 4 games, which is mighty impressive. So, your views on the 23 balls that Will Young has faced till now, Sanchit?
I think so far he hasn't looked to be in trouble, to be very honest, and just found out that Will Young is indeed not so young. He is actually 21, 28 years old, just like Devon Conway. So that actually was a surprising stat to me. But yeah, I feel that he has looked pretty much confident and compact in the way how he has played so far in this partnership. Though he hasn't had a say in the runs scoring part because Conway was taking care of that. But I think yeah, the he is looking really good for a big score on his outing in this test. I'm sure that he's not making his test debut. I feel that he has played one or two test matches before this. So yeah, but still, I think playing in England is always difficult, as I kept saying. So this is actually a good opportunity for Will Young to impress the New Zealand fans and also the world cricket fans, as Ankit in the comments has rightly pointed out. So this is actually a good period for to be a New Zealand fan. I think 43 for one is the best place where New Zealand could be right now at this moment of stage. So really looking good for Will Young, but hoping that he continues this kind of a momentum that he has got in this partnership so far.
Exactly, exactly. That is very good. That is very well said, Sanchit. And coming to you, Omkar, what will the New Zealand management hope from Devon Conway and William when they start the proceedings after the lunch session? What do you think will be going on in their mind?
I guess the management will be happy, like the way they have survived Stuart Broad spell. Everyone criticized him, like he's not going to his rhythm in the first test, and he should be replaced by a spinner because England was lacking a spinner in the first test, and they also don't have a spinner in this test as well. So, but the way Broad has made a comeback, he just showed each and every one of us that why he's England's one of the best fast bowlers in Test cricket. The mindset for the New Zealand team should be like they should actually in England we all know that each session has a different scenario. You might have dominated session one, but you can collapse in session two because of the conditions and also the Duke's ball coming into play. So I guess they should keep give their time and keep their patience so that they can survive the second session as well. Because yesterday also we saw that England had a great start in the first session, and in second session it was 3 to 4 wickets were down. So actually it should exactly be the opposite from the New Zealand's point of view that they should actually take their time and survive this session too.
Well, Omkar, you mentioned a very interesting point which said that Test cricket is a game of sessions. You know, we've seen many teams winning sessions, winning 10 sessions, but then you lose that one session and you end up losing the whole game. So it's really important that you have your focus, and that's why Test cricket is what it is. It's the toughest format to play. But we mentioned Stuart Broad, and his economy has been even below 2, which is a great thing to have. I know he is a legend for England now, and he's known to do things that he does. But an economy below 2, with Devon Conway and William, the way they are batting, they have survived well. But I would really like to know your views on Stuart Broad, his economy is even below two, as I mentioned. How phenomenal has he been till now?
Absolutely phenomenal, and I feel that Stuart Broad is one that kind of a player who actually relies too much on the confidence that he's getting from the stands. And I think Ed Boston crowd has to get a lot of appreciation for getting behind the England team so far in this Test match. And I think that's what you miss as a cricket fan, and even as a cricket player, the fans suddenly get you up in the all the emotions and confidence, and we are seeing that in the form of Stuart Broad. Before this Test match, he wasn't having a good time in the last 6 or 7 matches, but in this match I think he's looking a complete transformed player from what he was since the start of the year. And I feel that he deserved a wicket in this innings. It was quite a controversial decision, that soft signal. I feel that
Yes.
to be very honest, I'm not in support of soft signal. I feel that in the current times where the technology is at such an advanced state, you don't really need to rely or too much on the on field umpire decision. I feel that the grass that is there on the English grounds, I feel that actually blinds the umpire's sight, and they are not able to see the decision pretty clearly. So I feel it's really unfair that the on-field umpires get to decide on whether the ball carried or not, because this has a pretty important aspect on the decision. And as we saw, that soft signal was the reason why that decision did not prove to be out. And to be very honest, it really looked out. So I feel that they should adopt what BCCI did in the IPL, that is to eradicate the soft signal and give the entire responsibility and the decision to the third umpire, because that is the only way we could actually look to go forward. Because to be very fair, no disrespect to the umpires, but I feel it would be really unfair to make a decision of what is happening around 30 or 40 meters away from you, and deciding
Right.
from the position that you are right now. It is really unfair on the player that is getting out. So I believe that the umpires are relying too much on their instinct rather than thinking logical whether that decision is out or not. And I feel it's really unfair for the game. So I think the soft signal needs to be eradicated entirely from the international circuit, and it needs to be transferred to the powers in the third umpires.
Well, the soft signal as well as the umpire's call in the DRS system both have been pretty controversial when we look at the decision review system. But coming back to you, Omkar, I mean, economy less than two for Stuart Broad, you would take it any day of the year, wouldn't you?
Yeah, see, a bowler like Stuart Broad, he might have some bad games, but it doesn't make him a bad bowler. Like everyone has their ups and downs in their life. Regarding he may have played really well in the Ashes, but after the COVID happened, the lack of practice or some mentality issues, like all the scenarios what has happened, people are not in the proper mindset. It disturbs their mental health as well. So after that, he got some few bad games, but he doesn't make him that a bad bowler. We all know that how he has bowled deadly spells even against Australia. His best bowling figures, I guess, in an innings was, I guess, 8 wickets, giving 15 runs against Australia, where Australia were bowled out for 60 runs in the 2015 Ashes. So Stuart Broad economy with below two, and also the deadly outswingers, especially coming round the wicket to the left-handers. I got the David Warner vibes, like in the 2019 Ashes, what he has done to him. It was really a nightmare for David Warner.
Right, exactly, and that's a very good point mentioned by you, Omkar. But when New Zealand started their inning today, usually we see the greats that James Anderson and Stuart Broad are. They usually have a spell of 5 to 6 overs between them, which takes it to 12 overs. But today we saw a change that Mark Wood was brought in just for an over. He went away for 11 runs. That's another thing. But he was brought in. If I'm not wrong, just after James Anderson bowled 3 to 4 overs, and there was a change in the bowling. Can it be because what do you guys think? Can it be because there was the conditions did not imply a lot of swing, Sanjay?
Well, to be very honest, I don't think so, because the conditions were perfectly suited for a bowler like Jimmy Anderson. Especially, I think Anderson is someone who doesn't actually rely too much on swing. I think he's a great bowler, even where, considering his
Discipline.
line and length as well. So we saw that in India, where he bowled that beautiful spell, getting the ball to reverse due and also trouble the batsman like Ajinkya Rahane. So I feel it wasn't due to condition. I think it could be maybe managing the workload, because we keep talking about the kind of a schedule that England cricket have for this year. I mean, playing 5 test matches against India, and even the Ashes for that matter. So maybe managing the workload could be the planning behind all this. And I feel if it was any other normal condition, and if we were 5 years younger, then I feel it would have been fair to see that James Anderson and Stuart Broad bowling those beautiful spells together as we are known for. But I think it is just because they know that the gravity of this test match is not that important as compared to what it is coming ahead. I mean, the India tour is pretty much a pretty difficult tour that is going to be for the Indians when they play England. So I think managing the workload could be one of the possible reasons. But yeah, as you rightly pointed, I think that Markwood over actually got the momentum shifted towards the New Zealand
Exactly.
side. Before that, I feel England started off the session brilliantly, and they could have gotten 1 or 2 wickets had that controversial decision not been made. But yeah, I think that would overchange completely. And but apart from that, even Anderson started off the session on a pretty different note. Devon Conway played him really well for that cover drive, but after that he came back really well. So hoping similar happens with Markwood in the next session for from England's point of view.
Right, right. See, there's always this thing that many people say that however good a batsman you are, when you come into a new inning, you always have to begin from zero. Does that count for a bowler too? Like, however good a bowler you are, you can be James Anderson or Stuart Broad, but every game or every inning is a different one. So you have to start again right from zero when you come in for every inning. So Omkar, your thoughts on this? I mean, Devon Conway playing well, can this lead to James Anderson? Does it get into the head of a bowler like James Anderson that, oh my god, he's playing well, so I need to do something now?
See, I guess James Anderson knows what he can do with the ball. I don't think so. It will much affect him because James Anderson will look to counter attack him as well. And the 1 over of Markwood, which I think, according to me, I guess Joe Root made the change because of the pace and the bounce which Markwood has. So I guess maybe bowl with extreme pace and the bounce might get a wicket on the short ball, like on the third slip or a gully. So he can they can even brought a short leg silly mid off. So I guess so it will be a really best because but I didn't worked out actually. Like something sometimes the plans work out or they don't work out. It's up to the execution how it is made. But James Anderson, we all know that how he bowls the in swingers or the out swingers, even the reverse swing. So even if he doesn't get the swing, he has his line and then the accuracy which he bowls. So I don't think so. It will much affect his head that Devon Conway is playing well. I should do something. It's not like that. I guess he will. I guess he will make his plans and get rid of him. But I don't want to. I don't want Devon Conway to get out so early.
Okay, so Omkar here is pretty confident about the fact that it does not get into the mind of the bowler if he's James Anderson. Sanchit, are your views on the same?
Yes, I completely agree with what Omkar has said. I think for a player with like James Anderson playing for, I mean, around 2 decades almost, I think that adds up to the experience. I mean, if you ask someone like James Anderson to even wake up at 3 a.m. in the night and bowl, I think he would give you at least 5 out of 6 good balls in that spell as well. So I think experience counts a lot, especially in Test cricket. I think you might say that this thing might not apply in a different format for say let's say like T20. I think you need to start off well in a T20 game because even the likes of Jofra Archer or Jasprit Bumrah can have a bad day in a T20 format given the conditions and situation that they have to adapt to. But I think for Test cricket you need to make most of the experience and the momentum that you have. And James Anderson and Stuart Broad, I think both are momentum based bowlers, and the reason why they are most successful bowlers right now is because of their confidence and the experience that they have, and also the backing that they get from the fans and also the team management. I mean, in the last 10 or 20 years, the bowling lineup of England cricket hasn't actually been changed. I think you must have seen both of these players dominating the English bowling attack for 5 or 6 or even 10 or more years. So I think that is where all this comes into play. The backing that they got from the England Cricket Board, even when they weren't exactly in good form, I think that comes into play. So I believe that momentum and confidence has a lot to play for, especially in Test cricket, and I think that is where you separate the legends from the normal players.
Exactly, exactly. Guys, going ahead, I would just like to know your views on another thing. Just a quick word that there was one bowler, Stuart Broad, who has an economy even less than two, and you throw the ball to Mark Wood and he gives away 11 runs in the same over. So what do you think was the difference between the two?
Omkar?
Yeah, I start. Okay. So I guess it was just one bad over. It doesn't make any difference out there. Maybe the extra pace which Markwood has and Devon Conway was using his proper timing and technique to pass the ball to the boundary. Sometimes extra pace can be a backfire to the bowler because we have all seen that Stark was bowling at extra pace in the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and Pujara and Gill took him off with the hook shot or the pull shot. So sometimes extra pace might backfire the bowler. Nothing else comes to my mind talking about the particular over right now.
Well, yes, I also agree with Omkar about the point that he made about extra pace. So in that first over that Mark would have bowled, I think he looked to go in for the pace, and I think he bowled too much fuller than it was expected from him, and he was trying to get the ball swinging in with the pace, but it wasn't exactly working in his favor. But I think that he bowled really well in the second over that he bowled. I mean, it is fair that he only bowled 12 overs in this inning, so we can't judge him whether he's doing good or bad, but I think he did came back pretty well in since that first over. I think the second over that he bowled, I think it was spot on. So maybe he could look at that first over and maybe see that what not to do, because he has pace, but I feel that if he keeps on bowling in the good length area, especially to someone like Devon Conway, who is exceptionally well when the ball is pitching up. We saw that cover drive that he played against James Anderson. I think bowling short of a good length might not be a bad ploy against Devon Conway. So maybe that could be the thing that uh, Joe Root will be working upon with the pace of Mark Wood in the next session.
Exactly, that's very well put, Sanchit. And going forward, I would just like to know what do you guys think about the umpiring decision that was there on the bowling of Stuart Broad? It was, did the ball carry, did the ball not carry? But we have already spoken about the DRS and the soft signal thing. But how do you think will that impact the game, and especially this inning? Because Conway is a batsman who is extremely in form, and he has had a 200 already in the series, and he started this inning pretty wonderfully as well. He's playing on 27 or 45 balls. So, how do you think will that affect the game, Sanchit?
Well, I feel yeah, it was a big call to make, and especially knowing that the batsman was Devon Conway, who is batting in the form of his life. Yes, it was a big decision, but good thing that is working for England is that Stuart Broad didn't lose his rhythm after that decision. Normally, we would see that after such a poor call, the bowler tends to lose it and then lose the momentum that he got in the last 2 or 3 overs. But I think Stuart Broad did pretty well to manage that rhythm well, and that could be working in favor of England in the next session. But yeah, I think that wicket, according to me, I feel that that looked out, to be very honest, because I saw the fingers were underneath the ball, and there was pretty much no conclusive evidence to deem that not out, to be very honest. And that actually was deemed not out because of the soft signal, and
Soft signal,
that,
yes.
that is where I think the issue lies in test cricket, because to overturn a soft signal, you need to have conclusive evidence, and to be honest, from that angle, I feel there was no conclusive evidence, and it was unfortunately against England for that matter. So if we look it from a logical point of view, I feel that should have been out, especially knowing that the fingers were clearly underneath the ball, and that is according to me. But some might argue that it was the ball was touching the ground, or even the grass was a little bit lengthier than it was. So that is actually a whole different debate to have on. But according to me, I feel that it was pretty much harsh on England, and that looked out to me.
But I like to tell you, Sanchit, that some people who might argue one of them is going to be me because I am supporting New Zealand in this game. But yeah, coming to you, Omkar, how do you think this decision, soft signal DRS, is going to affect Test cricket in the future as well, not just in this game. This game, obviously, it is important from England's point of view because Conway is really very well set and he's playing well. But going towards the future in the India England series or even in the World Test Championship final, how do you think this will affect Test cricket overall?
Look, a wrong decision or a controversial decision can lead to any circumstances out there. We all saw that in the Headingley Test, which in which Ben Stokes was out in the LBW decision, which was not given by I don't know the name of the umpire, but the Nathan Lyon was very frustrated, and then the score was tied. Jack Leach scored a single run, and Ben Stokes finished the things off. So sometimes a controversial decision can lead to a big disappointment to the team who is playing. It can be either of the side. It can be either the winning team or the losing team. But this decision was actually very much controversial. Like the grass was also big compared to others, so the ball was touching was on the grass or on the fingers. It was a very big. I guess the umpire must have given it out because of the soft signal controversial decision, the rule which the ICC has put in the rule book and regulations, and also with the benefit of doubt, which sometimes goes in the favor of the batsman.
Well, that's a very good opinion. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question that we have been asking since day one of this series. That it's regarding spin. We all know that England have do not have a spinner, but looking at day two, Sachit just mentioned in the pre-day show that the ball was spinning yesterday in the last session of yesterday as well, where Ajaz Patel was making it grip a bit. Not much, but just a bit. So it's day two, and do you think that England should have had a spinner in terms of Dominic West or even Jack Leach, Sanchit?
Well, definitely. I think a spinner is always going to be important, no matter the conditions that are provided. Even on a grassy surface, I would actually play with one spinner at least. And to be very honest, no disrespect to Joe Root, I feel he's not a frontline spinner. Even if he took that 5 wicket haul against India, I think that was a different
A
anomaly
pitch.
altogether. Entirely. So I feel that England should have went with Jack Leach, to be honest, especially for this Test match. I could say that they had their reasons for the previous Test match, but I feel they are playing one batsman too much in this lineup, and knowing that Bracy isn't looking pretty much in control, then maybe playing someone like Jack Leach in place of an extra batsman down the order wouldn't have been too much of a bad decision, especially knowing that the Duke's ball has actually a good seam around it, and the ball tends to grip a lot more than as compared to the SG ball and the Kookaburra ball. I think Jack Leach would have done splendidly on this at Boston surface, and that is where I think the difference could be possibly be in this Test match, especially with how Devon Conway is playing. So we know that the left-handers tend to often be struggling against the quality of spin, and that is where I think the threat of Ashwin will be coming in the final when India play New Zealand. So that is going to be a good matchup because Devon Conway hasn't exactly been tested against quality spinners in this Test match. So maybe that could be working in favor of India, but it is certainly not working in favor of England because they are lacking Jack Leach. And knowing that England will be bowling on the last day in Edgbaston, and with the conditions that are predicted for day 4 and 5, I think they will be looking at that decision of maybe not playing a spinner. It could prove out to be costly for them.
Well, we really have our fingers crossed because Sanchit just mentioned that it could help India with the kind of spinner Ravichandran Ashwin is. So we really hope that it happens and he gets Conway. But Omkar, what are your views on the same? Do you think that England are going to miss a spinner going ahead in this match?
Yeah, definitely. See, because you actually need a proper spinner. Joe Root is not a proper spinner. I mean, no disrespect to the batsman, but he's a part-time bowler. So if you don't have a proper spinner like you had Jack Leach or Dominic West, even they don't have Adil Rashid, who bowls really well in the test format. So bowling at least one spinner. I'm not saying you have to pick two spinners, but bowling one spinner might be helpful because on day three or day four it can happen that the ball gets old or the ball gets stoned after the 80 overs and the second new ball is taken. So at that time, in between the overs, fast bowlers do not get proper grip or swing when the ball gets old. So at that time, a spinner can make give you the breakthroughs of the proper well set batsman or the tailenders. So one spinner at least is needed for each and every team who play test matches in any of the venues they are.
All right. Well, guys, that's all that we had on the lunch session. Now, I would really like you to put your predictors hat on. Parth Arora just had a predictors hat on really in the day show. If you have something, you can put it. You can put the hat. But I really, yeah, Sanchit is doing it right away. And yeah, guys, I really want you to tell your predictions so as to what will be the score or what will happen in these 2 hours ahead.
Well, to be honest, I was actually dreading this part because I'm not good of a predictor myself. But if I had to predict realistically, looking at the conditions that are there at Boston right now, I would predict 3 wickets to be falling in this session at an expense of, let's say, 65 to 70 runs. And predicting that Mark Wood and Stuart Broad will be amongst the wickets.
Okay, that's pretty much an English fan speaking. 3 wickets for 60 runs. That's huge. And Omkar, your predictions for the same.
See, I feel like one wicket will fall because both are looking good. Will Young has faced 23 balls, but he has not been beaten. So, being a Black Caps fan, I think so. One or two wickets will be enough for, and I guess New Zealand will try to score at least 70 runs after this session.
Okay, so 70 runs for the loss of 1 wicket is what you predict, Omkar.
One or two.
One or two. Okay, so that's
Yeah.
all we have from the lunch session. But I would really like to tell all our viewers that the BCCI has also declared the Indian squad that will tour Sri Lanka in the month of July. So we have another session coming up at 7 p.m. The link for the same is on our Insta page bio. So do check that and do attend that session. Do shower your love upon us. So that's all we had from the lunch session. We'll see you after the stumps, after the last ball is bowled. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sanchit. Thank you, Omkar. Thank you to all our viewers.
Thanks, Amok. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you. Cheers.